Ja. Đó, giờ lại được rồi.
Always flying. They're great flag flyers, not only in Denmark but all of Scandinavia, and you'll get very familiar with their colors. And this was the point we just went through at the moment, was customs point. There should technically be no customs control, no immigration control, because you are entering from one European Union country to another. You'll see the sign for the European Union in a moment with Denmark written in the middle. But even if it was not that you're entering from one EU country to another, generally there should not be any control anyway, or there wasn't before the European Union, because Denmark is also part of what they call this Nordic Union, and the Nordic Union was a union not between just Scandinavian countries, but what they call Nordic countries. So it's not technically part of Scandinavia, it's not part of this geographic unit, but it's considered part of this customs union, the Nordic Union between these countries. So there are certain similarities between them. So if you look on the right, you see them put together 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 flags flying there. You can get them all with crosses on top, the Danish, Finnish, Icelandic, Norwegian and Swedish in a row. Was that a confusion of colours for you all in one? I told you there are great flagged flyers here. Anyway, you'll become familiar with all the different colours while we are travelling through the countries, because not only do they have flags flying everywhere, but people outside their houses often have flagpoles, and they don't have a large rectangular flag, but they have like a triangular strip flag. So we arrive into the Danish port of Gedser very quickly, in and out. There was a sign there already telling us we're leaving Gedser, so we're in and out of it in a couple of moments. Sign up on the right giving you all the traffic point connecting with Germany, obviously situated on the North Sea. Oh my goodness. Sorry, there was a bus in front of us doing some very strange manoeuvre. Other countries used to make their jokes about the Bosnians, you know, they were the ones they make all the stupid jokes about, and stereotypes are dangerous, but that driving he was just demonstrating actually certainly reinforced the stereotype. Thinking of is Norway, and Norway is situated on the very western side of the Scandinavian peninsula, and this is the part of the peninsula that has the really dramatic landscape. Denmark is conversely, it's a very small country. It's a very flat country, and this area that we're going through at the moment, sometimes it's even referred to as the Dutch district of the country as well. You can see it's very flat, not quite as flat as the Netherlands, but still nevertheless very, very flat. And also, a lot of the landscape is, because it's so flat, it's backed by dikes as well, just like one finds in the Netherlands, so they give it this name, the Dutch district. Also, you can see a lot of windmills. We saw many of these in Germany as well. These are not Dutch-style windmills, but modern windmills. And it's a very important source of power, so generating electricity here in Denmark. You'll see windmill farms everywhere around the country, and it's also one of their major the country is very predominantly an agricultural country. It's the most fertile of all the Scandinavian countries, and apart from their windmills, another well-known export in this country are their various agricultural products, including, I'm sure you know, Danish bacon. The Danes are very famous for their pork. This is what we're having tomorrow night, by the way. Danish rooted between 90 and 100 inhabited islands. But that doesn't mean to say that's all of them. There are many other smaller skerries and uninhabited islands, but between 90 and 100 that are inhabited. And we're going to be crossing today from 3 different islands. So we arrived on the island of Fitch Connection. That will take us to the largest island in Denmark, which is the island called Zealand. So Zealand is not only the largest island, but it is the island where Copenhagen, the capital city, is situated, and it's the most densely populated of all the islands as well. The next largest island after that, which we don't visit on this tour, but is directly to the west of Zealand, is an island called Fyn, F-Y-N. And the main town on that island is a town called Odense. And the reason I mention it is there are 2 claims to fame. The oldest one that most people have heard of is that Odense was the birthplace of the famous Danish writer of Hans Christian Andersen. So while we are in Copenhagen, Hazel, our guide, will be telling you about various places you go past, that Hans Christian Andersen lived here, he worked here, and so forth. But he was not originally from Copenhagen. He was from, to take a ferry, you can go from Copenhagen right down to the south of Italy now without actually having to take a ferry anymore. And they constructed an artificial island in the middle of the sea, and going over to the artificial island, on one side is an enormous suspension bridge, and then after that is a bridge of just built on cement piers. And it's both a road bridge and a rail bridge. The railways, DSB, Danish State Railways, use it, but they, instead of the second bridge, they then have a tunnel that goes under the sea as well, and it is quite a spectacular sight. And the Danes were, for a long time, they were very upset because it never had any international publicity. Everybody heard about this infernal tunnel between England and France. It went on and on and on, the stories, and was very famous and so on, but nobody had heard of their construction, and it certainly equals that in terms of engineering and technology. And with that connection, one can drive from Copenhagen across to the island, approximately the population of St. Petersburg. So one city has the population of the whole of this country. Moscow, just central Moscow, has a population of 8 million. When you add in the surrounding suburbs and areas, it goes above that, but just central Moscow, 8 million. So 2 cities that we'll visit in Russia have the same population as 2 Scandinavian countries. So it already gives you an idea of the feel that, you know, there's plenty of living space for everybody here. Well, the country, as I mentioned, so they have the main city, Copenhagen. Just as a by the way, you'll see the city soon. It'll be signposted once we get onto the motorway, and the name for the city, you'll see it's written in Danish. So Copenhagen is written K-O-B-E-N-H-A-V-N. So that is the Danish version. So it translates into English as Copenhagen. But in Danish, you'll see it written Copenhagen. So K-O-B-E-N-H-A-V-N with a slash through the O. So about 20% from the moss on the thatch. This was a traditional way of constructing houses in this country. Unfortunately, nowadays there are not so many thatched cottages left anymore for various practical reasons, being replaced much more frequently than an ordinary tiled roof. It's expensive, it's a specialized job to do it, and also the insurance on these houses is quite high. But in certain parts of Denmark, the houses are protected. You know, they're under like the National Trust, and they are cultural heritage areas. And when you go tomorrow on the excursion going to North Zealand, you're going to be driving along the coast and seeing some of the beautiful beaches. You might, by the way, if the weather is warm, you might even see some real live mermaids on the beach as well. You have to believe, by the way, to see. You've got to believe. And then along this, what they call a cultural heritage route, where there are many old thatched cottages left, and people there are not thatched roof. You have to keep the original style. So you get an idea a little bit of how old houses looked in Denmark. But, you know, these houses were originally, in days gone by, not a wealthy man's house, but nowadays to have one, you have to be quite well off. You know, they're considered very, what we would say, des res, you know, places to live in. Well, I don't know if you believe me about the mermaids, by the way, but when the summer comes, in this part of the world, you know, summer is very short. People, again, have stereotype ideas about Scandinavia. The Swedes always say the whole world imagines polar bears walking around the streets of Stockholm. I think that's why the ice bar is such a success, you know, because that's how people imagine the country to be. And also they imagine, you know, Denmark to be very, very cold all year round. But the reality is, it's a country of contrasts very much. So the winters here they can be bitterly cold. But during the summer months, the summer is short, but it can be short and very, very hot. And people who live in these Nordic countries, they are not like people who come from Mediterranean countries, or I know Australians, when they come here and they see people out sunbathing, they're absolutely horrified. They say, how can they do that? How can they be in the sun? But it's such a scarce commodity here that when the sun is out, everyone is out sunbathing. They love it. And, you know, Denmark has many beaches because it's a country of islands. It's famous for its beaches and some beautiful areas. Opportunity. One of the things you have to remember, because we're so far north, you don't have, in Copenhagen, there's no concept of midnight sun. You have to go right up to the Arctic Circle. But in the month of June, midsummer is usually around 21st of June. The sun hardly goes down. You know, at 11 o'clock at night, it's still light here, and everyone's out. The winters are long and dark. And actually, people in these countries, actually, Köpen is shortened. It was originally Köpman, but meant a merchant. So it comes from a word from merchant or trading place. And then Havn, H-A-V-N, is a harbour. And similarly, you'll see the suffix of K-O-B-I-N-G on many places, because it's just a derivative of an old word for a merchant, a town, or a trading centre. So you'll see it in 1972. And she is exceedingly popular for various different reasons. Having grown up in Britain, in the UK, I always make comparisons between the British monarchy, and of course it's a dangerous question depending on whether you're a monarchist or not, how you view things. But I think whatever your perspective, most people in the UK will say that, you know, the monarchy, with the exception probably of the Queen herself, but the rest of her entourage, they by now, but it's a red flag with a white cross on it. It looks very, very similar to the Swiss flag. There is only one difference. Does anyone know what it is? No. No.
The stripe.
It's the Danish flag is rectangular and the Swiss flag is square, but otherwise it's the same colors, the same design. And the flag has a name as well. It is known in Danish as the Dannebrog, D-A-N-N-E-B-R-O-G. And there is a legend associated with how the Danes got this flag. The flag, according to legend, was a gift from God, that during the 13th century, the beginning of the 13th century, in the year 1219 precisely, in June, the Danes were engaged in a battle. They were at war with people. Significant rivers at all in Denmark. There are some very small rivers, one can say, very tiny rivers, but this stretch of water now, you'll see this is seawater that we cross over. This is the new bridge that we cross over. If you look to the left, the bridge over there is a very old one, built between 1932 and 1937. It was built originally as a road bridge, and I remember the first time I ever came to Denmark, we had to take, that was the only bridge we could take across with one-way traffic, with traffic lights on either end. When it was built, it's not anymore obviously, but at the time it was built, it was the long time. Nowadays it's used as the rail connection. Well, I mentioned earlier about the currency. We're going to have such a short time in this country and in Sweden to get familiar with currencies. So you'll find as soon as you do that we leave the country. But remember that the unit of currency here, the name is krona, which translates like the word crown. When we go to Sweden, the currency has the same name, but don't be confused into thinking that it's the same currency. All the Scandinavian countries all have currency called krona, but they all have separate values. They have different banknotes, different coins, and a different value as well. The comparison I would say that you can make is if you think that all the different countries...
Denmark.
So this was the way we played. Copenhagen.
Hey, hey. Copenhagen, Denmark. Sorry. Hấp, hấp, hấp. Chụp cái gì mana? Chụp ya. Trời. Okay.
Cái thành phố này nó hay hơn là ở Belgium.
Nhưng mà sao ít người quá hả?
They have a little boat tour too.
Hả?
Tour, you can take it. Yeah, you get a boat, I guess.
Oh, that's a tour too. They had a tour.
They tour probably this river.
Yeah. Who
See, canal tours right there.
Yeah.
But I don't think, come on, you keep moving that.
Oh, okay.
They're all over there already.
Last time I ate hot dog, I got sick.
You know what, that this is like Belgium, huh?
Yeah.
Along the line right here.
The Belgium. Yeah.
Remember?
Victor. Here more may cost more. Maybe next to the harbor maybe cost double.
Oh yeah. That's what she said, 200 kron for one dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like about $40, huh? Yeah. $45.
Ai ta, cái này là.
In shop the Middle East, con bé xinh quá hả?
Claro, no tampoco de eso. Digamos por libre, por eso. Entonces el problema era que estaba así, sería feo,
Middle East. Middle East. Chừng có trâu.
Cái này nó ngọt hả?
À.
Ở đây không có ai ăn uống rồi, thấy toàn uống không à, không có ăn, tại mắc quá à. Uống không à, không có ăn. Mấy này nó uống bia dữ nha, ôi. Thằng nào cũng six pack hết trơn á.
How much?
About 30, 40. Nhưng mà cái đó là salad đó.
À.
Còn mấy con là khác.
Cheap, right? At least 200 something.
Yeah, because I think
Yeah.
it's just like $40 for a salad. 40 kron, right?
For chocolate drink.
Forget it, we go back over the other end and eat inside.
Go to the hotel eat hamburger. McDonald's.
Cho mấy cái thằng Philippines nó nãy nó mới đi một cái ly.
One tray is 89. The main is 170.
Oh, see, you want the whole thing, the whole
Yeah.
menu, 275. You have cái chỗ này cái này là Old Harbor hả? Nếu hỏi anh mà mình ví dụ như mình không có đi tour đó, mình tới muốn tới đây mình đi kiếm đường kiếm xe đồ cũng mệt đó.
Đúng rồi, không biết chỗ nào đi nữa.
Rồi tiếng nói nó tùm lum nó lằng quanh nữa. That's probably a church or something, huh?
I think we have to go.
Go back.
There's 1 hour left.
Oh, wow.
Then we have to walk to the other place and
Oh, to
find
eat?
something to eat.
Yeah,
Oh.
okay, let's go back
Okay.
there. We have to go to that,
Oh, the other's gone.
the shopping town, yeah.
They're all drinking. They're all getting drunk.
This will play supposed to be packed on Saturday.
Well, they probably later on.
If you go to Paris, huh?
Yeah,
Pack
yeah. Huh?
Oh, we can pass here if you want. That's okay.
Okay. Pass here, Victor. China nè. Take away, China, take away.
China box takeaway.
Slow nè. Sữa rạp ở Denmark. Hả? Yeah, right now, maybe they call it the Market Square.
Market Square, yeah.
Yeah.
Town Hall of Copenhagen. It's a little bit of a mess at the moment because of the roadworks, and starting from one of the attractions of the city, which is their main shopping street. It's referred to often, it's several different streets joined together, but collective dance that goes along there. But you can see this morning it's a little bit quiet. If you look on the left, on the corner of the building, can you see the red lighting with the number scale going up? And right at the very top, you can see there's a golden statue of a girl on a bicycle. Can you see it?
Yeah.
And on the other side, the counterpart is a girl with an umbrella, and that's meant to be a barometer. And the Danes always think it's very funny when they say this are the only two honest girls in Copenhagen. But I don't see them move word, and then we can progress from here.
Definitely.
Yeah. And it's got a very fine collection of polka guns, you know. It's now owned by one of the ministries.
89.
The next building on the left with the green line outside, that is Christian IV's Arsenal. Here you can. But if you look back here to the right, you get a nice photo of the green copper roof and the dragon's tails up the spire. I just look to the bicycles to get out. That used to be moored out at sea and used as a lighthouse. And over on the other side, it's all cafes and restaurants. Quite a few people haven't gone home from last night yet. See them sitting up at the end. Quite regularly fall in the canal, as you can imagine. We'll make a quick stop here. Anybody wants to get a photo? Anybody who wasn't here yesterday? We're very near the water. Don't walk out the bus and into the canal.
Hôm qua mình cứ chụp ở đây không ạ? Chụp chỗ này để là thấy.
Cái này giống như hôm qua chỗ mình quất phải không? Đúng rồi, quất kia. Quất kia. Ở ngoài này cũng gì dữ. We here yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah, we here yesterday.
Last night. Yeah.
Yeah, we are on the other side. Yeah.
I think we're fresh now.
The Danish word for amber, but amber is found on the beaches. It falls in the sea over in rolls up on the beaches here. The oldest bit we've got in Denmark is a
Này ô xanh với xe nâu.
Này ốc xanh gì? Ốc xanh.
Sea.
What you see across the water here is our new opera house.
Oh.
Opera house.
This last winter. And is it really true there aren't any Australians in the group? Yeah. Oh, okay, no, I just didn't hear. Yeah. You know that why I ask is because the Sydney Opera House, you know, the one that looks like a butterfly, that was built by a Danish architect. And we thought a lot of you standing here in February in a snowstorm. So what they're going to do now is either build a tunnel or like it. They're made by an Italian American called Pomodoro. And I've got quite a lot of this stuff in the States. Have we got some Americans with us? Yeah. She is still just as popular as she ever was. She still works for the royal family. She's still called Princess Alexandra, so extremely nice girl. The Danes love her. Then the older prince, Frederick, he goes off to Australia and he goes into a park. There are no walls around the palaces, there are no chains. It's probably the only palace in the world where you could, if you're rude enough, peer through the window. But the soldier would be there immediately. So don't kiss or cuddle them or anything like that. Take a photo, that's fine, but then leave them alone. And don't stand any nearer than 3 meters. Okay? So if I lose you here, go back towards the fountain. Turn left, go back to the car park, and at 9 o'clock the toilets will be open. Okay, so I'll be standing there to direct you in.
Do they do changing guard around here sometimes?
They change the guard every 2 hours, otherwise they have to stand here forever. Yeah. So
Every 2 hours.
every 2 hours.
Tại vì mùa hè chứ mùa đông cũng chẳng ma nào tới.
Bà này bà nói chuyện khó nghe. Mình đi đến sớm mấy người kia mới đến thôi.
Quá trời sao tốt chợ. Mấy cái thành này nè, ở Washington nó có 10 cục. Đó, ở New York đó.
Bà nói hả? That's Opera House.
Cái này em nghĩ buổi chiều nó bán cái tour đi đây nè, cái này nè, ăn ấy rồi. Nó tour rao cái river, cái harbor này nè. Hỏi thấy không? Nó để cho chó đái gì đó.
14 days during this summer. Just looking to the right, one of our fountains, the Giffian fountain. You're going to see a goddess Giffian with her 4 sons, the 4 bulls. She's ploughing out a piece of land out of Sweden. She throws it into the sea, and her 4 sons. The little church here is the English church, St Albans, built by a Danish princess who married Edward VII of England, became Queen of England. Then this dug out 400 years ago as fortifications of Copenhagen. Looking out to the left, you can just see behind the buses that is another cruise ship over there, little one. The Crown is. So you have to use your elbows, get in, have a look. When you've got your photo, come back to the bus, please. Oh, there are 2 cruise ships over there.
Bà nói mấy người Asian đó, người ta superstitious đó, người nào cũng muốn rờ cô Little Mermaid, nó leo lên nó bị nó push xuống, leo lên nó trơn, nó té xuống dưới sông á. Rồi mấy người ở đây là mấy người ta nói Little Mermaid nó push mấy người nó té xuống sông. Cái hồi 9/11 á, có thằng nào lại đây nó explode cái làm cái tượng rớt xuống dưới nước á, mà bà chỉ không bị sao, chỉ bị bruise này kia thôi à.
I think that's made up.
Yeah.
The explosion, I think she's lying.
The explosion is 9/11.
Yeah, I think she's lying. Yeah.
She said not terrorism, but tourism.
It's natural. No. I didn't read about it.
Well, I'm sorry, but I'll put it on CNN next time.
I didn't think you made it up.
You are right. Can you take a picture of me down here then, instead of going down there?
Chưa. Hả? Xuống Hợp dưới hả? Dưới đi.
I don't have to get one.
Xuống nó sợ.
Tranquila.
Ya, soltando ya.
È vero che lo sfondo. Che si bella.
Hop.
Olha aí que muita gente está esperando. Vamos lá, pressa.
Đi xuống đi. Nè, xuống đây nè, đây nè. Đây nè. Xuống dưới, bước xuống gỗ kìa. Chừng nha. Chưa, từ từ. Rồi nắm tay nè. Bước xuống gỗ á. Chừng nè. Xếp kia. Ok. Bước vào đá kia, bước vào đá kia, bước con đó kìa. Đó, đó được rồi. Chứ nó được rồi. Cần gì đến giữa. Đứng ra được rồi.
용구야 지금.
손 잡으셔야지. 그럼.
Get a green light, I'll show them to you. So
So
this green door has got a little window in it, and in the window, coming up on the left-hand side, nearly level with it. Just look here, this green door,
400,000.
right?
400
Yeah.
years
See the
old.
two
400 years
dogs
old
over
house.
See,
there? And it's held today, the heads were facing.
Ở đó.
cái câu chuyện con đốc bà kể sao bà nói là con đốc.
Đi.
Đúng rồi, nó trên riêng ra. Đi theo nó thôi. Phải quẹo, không phải nó quẹo.
Chưa, từ từ. Biết đâu. Không, cứ đây, biết đâu đi đâu thì đó chưa. Đấy.
Kịp nó đi là.
Kẹp gì nó thấy ngõ nó ngừng lại, biết không, phải hiểu như vậy đó. Thấy rõ không? Đương nhiên phần ngõ nó ngừng lại, quẹo nó đi.
Thế đừng đè. Đè cho anh Thu. Người nào cũng đi theo.
They know it. They know it. Go here.
Where's that at?
Thì có gì đó thì ở ngoài không? Sắp đi.
Ngay chỗ đó, nó chỗ con đó. À. Đó, đứng đây rồi coi bạn đứng đó này. Đứng đây được rồi, bạn cho bắt đứng đây rồi, đứng được rồi đó.
Đây đi. Giống này.
Được rồi đó. Cho move forward nữa nè.
Oh.
Forward.
Okay.
Good.
Aquí, arriba. Arriba.
Yeah.
Very good. Mình cũng lucky.
Lucky. Tìm được này nó phải gì?
England. And ở đâu nhớ ở đâu có lần Greek thôi.
Monaco.
Đúng 12 giờ.
Check nữa.
No sabe cantar.
¿Nos respondemos en Japón?
¿Cómo lo conseguís vosotros?
Sí, el paraguas cae el chorro, la lluvia te cae tu parte inspirada. No me ves que estoy acorrocado.
Por dentro del cuello le está metiendo la gota.
No lo veo.
Y otra va para allá.
Mira cómo se va. Pues otra batería que... Nos están fallando la batería, la mía pasa menos. Ahora esos se desaparecen, ¿eh? Ahora las puestas.
Người ta chờ từ hồi nào.
Mình lucky mình đi theo được nó.
Como son pequeñitos, sentarse ahí con el secador. ¿Que no? Vamos a secar a uno, a ver.
Giống như mễ.
Này giống rồi.
Pero ahora te giras, ¿eh? No, yo le digo, por favor, y le digo, no. Pues ya está. No me da tiempo de volver. Mira aquí cómo hace.
Lo que veo con dedicación. Entonces nada.
A ver cómo dice el guardia delante. Ahí se pone delante. Esos los zapatos le duelen, ¿eh? Míralo. Sí, al de allá lleva un dolor de zapatos.
Pero te voy a quitar el color.
No, déjalo como está. Dice, te lo voy a quitar. Dice, te voy a quitar el paraguas y ha sido cuando lo has cerrado.
Nhỏ quá hả bà? Sao đến nó nhỏ hả? Cái này là nhỏ xíu à.
Ahora coger el gel.
Về đó.
Mira, si se van para allá, hay que coordinar su sitio. Se van por allí. No van a ver aquello. Vale, ya está bien, ¿no? Oye, ya hemos visto.
Này vô.
¿Dónde está gente que está aquí? Oye, que ahí está. Estos paraguas que son.
Go to a canal tour in Denmark.
With a lot of bars, drunken sailors and easy ladies. During the 80s, Nyhavn was restored, and today it's one of the most exclusive parts of Copenhagen with lots of good restaurants. Wir sind jetzt in Nyhavn, zu Deutsch Neuer Hafen. Und früher war der Hafen den Seefahrern vorbehalten und gewöhnliche Kopenhagener waren hier nicht willkommen. Und die Nordseite hier wurde deshalb als die unanständige Seite bekannt. Aber im Laufe der 80er Jahre wurde Nyhavn restauriert Und es sollte eine der attraktivsten Wohnungen und Restauranter i Copenhagen. Og det nærmer os en meget lav bro, så pas på broerne. We are approaching a very low bridge, so please watch out for your backs and remain seated. Og de næste bro kan jeg se her lige. The bridge.
ở bên đây có gì đâu, với vào lịch có gì đâu. Đấy là cái tour này em thích nè, cái tour gì có nó hay.
Cái này đi vô.
Đây quá.
Opera House over there.
Københavns skuespilhus, der vil blive bygget som del af det kongelige teater. Das neue Schauspielhaus Kopenhagens aufgeführt und er soll in 2008 fertigstehen. Und kostet 350 Millionen Euro. Die Oper besteht aus 14 Stockwerken und hat über 1000 Räume. Und eine Person, die hier rauchen darf, ist unsere Königin Margrethe. Còn được thì og se kongeskib. Das Schiff Dannebrog. Und das ist das älteste Königsschiff, der immer noch benutzt wird.
on Queen Jack.
Ship is from 1932.
Oh, 1932.
Wow.
1932.
They still keep
1932.
Og det grønne område her foran løber det er Sextus, og herfra affyres kanoner. Velkommen til dette begivenheder vil også være morgen og hver aften, så vi hyldes til den danske flag. And this green area in front with the flag on it, the school battery Sextus, and from here cannon salutes with loose gunpowder being fired at royal and official occasions, but also every morning and every evening for the honor of the Danish flag. And the Danish flag is the oldest in the world. Und das Königreich Emilia Rex wird der bis 6.
Nhà này là chỗ khi nào ta có tiền có lẽ ta bắn cả đông ở đó đó. Mẹ bị cái phát hình rê là từ buổi chiều nó đá ấy xuống.
Cannon.
Hvid skulptur, det er
Bên xưa dữ rồi nha.
De er lavet af 12 forskellige kunstnere, de var ekstraslaget and they all symbolized by og det er Trikronerfortet, som blev bygget i 1700-tallet for at beskytte København mod fjenderne. Fortet blev dog kun taget i brug en gang, og det var i 1801, da Lord Nelson og den engelske flåde angreb de danske forsvarslinjer. And if you look here to your right, you can see the two red houses in the horizon, and that's the old fortress, Trekroner, 3 crowns. It was built in 17th century to protect its enemies. It was only used once, and it was in 1801 when Lord Nelson and the English Navy attacked the Danish Palestine. Bildhauer Ewald Erich gemacht, der seine eigene Frau als Modell benutzt hat. In 1964 und in den 1990er wurde ihr Kopf gestohlen. Und obwohl die Polizei die Sache fast wie eine Mordgeschichte behandelte, haben sie nicht geschafft, den Kopf wiederzufinden. Aber glücklicherweise wurde das Rüstung bewahrt und somit...
Every year I get a prisoner cruise ship stop over California. Restaurant hem sang kìa.
Ừ, thì đi tour vậy á, chiều tới có đủ hết trơn á. Mình đi tour thử chuyến là sao?
For the board, the Royal Yard, Dannebrog. Die 2 Grundpavillons hier versammeln sich die königliche Familie, bevor sie an Bord der Königin Dannebrog geht.
Thuyền tới đó trước khi mà bo ra cái thuyền đó đó. Nó cũng cưng bả dữ ha. Royal Family mà.
Palamé, which is considered to be one of the world's largest with 18,000 employees in over 100 countries. And in the top of the building there is a blue flag with a star with 7 points. And according to the management, it symbolizes the 7 seas, but according to the employees, it symbolizes the 7 days work week. That's why he's the richest man in Denmark. Und das weiße Gebäude hier rechts, das war das Hauptsitzquartier der dänischen Reederei.
Every day he comes.
Come here, it was 90 years old.
Yes.
Og her til højre vil kunne se kongehusets vinterresidens.
90 years old owner. 90 years old.
Og Amalienborg består af 4 symmetriske ædelparker, og dronningen på det til venstre. Men hun er ikke hjemme i dag. And here to your right, you'll be able to see the Queen's winter residence,
Winter resort.
And Amalienborg consists of 4 identical palaces. And the Queen lives in the palace to the left. But she's not at home today. She's in France. We have a French prince. Und hier rechts sehen Sie die königliche Winterresidenz
Fanrin vậy là con gái của ba Lý Thần Tần.
Amorkirken som var en av Europas største kupler. Kirken skulle efter planen have været meget større, men på grund af pengemangel ved det
trên ga đấy hả?
omkostningerne.
Không.
And in the background you can
Sáng
see
mình
the
đậu
marble
Sa-bớt, mình đậu đây nè, nhớ không?
church.
Trên
One of the
Sa-bớt.
largest domes in Northern Europe. The church was actually planned to be a whole lot bigger, but because of lack of money, in 18 by the company over there, by the shipping company.
Church of God. Queen là gì?
And here again, you have a beautiful view to our new opera house. And this is the front entrance we have here, so people mainly arrive
Oh,
by
front
boat.
entrance. Oh, by boat. Oh, it's a front entrance.
Our opera is a very popular place. It's very difficult to get the tickets. It's been sold out ever since it opened.
Oh.
Christian den fjerde i 1618 og kongen ville anlægge et attraktivt købmandskvarter her, men han havde en del problemer til at begynde med. Den nedbestod kvarteret kun af mudder og sand, og derfor var kongen nødt til at gå området til det rige købmand og samtidig lå den 12 års skattefrihed. Men der stand anlæggen. Aber am Anfang waren die Grundstücke nur aus Schlamm und Morast. Und der König hatte sie deshalb den Kaufleuten geschenkt. Außerdem hatte er ihnen 12 Jahre Steuerfreiheit versprochen. Und heute ist Christianshavn auch Christianity Interfactory.
This is view by German.
Und hier vorne links sehen Sie den Turm der Erlöserkirche. Und der Turm besteht aus einer aufwendigen Spiraltreppe mit über 400 Stufen. Und es ist möglich, ganz nach oben hoch zu klettern. Und an der Spitze des Turms findet man eine goldene Christusfigur und das symbolisiert den Sieg des Christentums im 10. Jahrhundert.
Đứng giữa này để chụp cho chụp cái còn neo cái Chris. Thầy hết trơn.
Nhà phút trời.
Gì đâu ấy.
Thầy biết rồi.
Close in.
Wake up. Yeah, that's how we. Silver Church. Hey, man.
Very low, so it's really important to remain seated. Und die Brücke bitte sitzen bleibt.
Nó dễ thương.
Get out, get out, get out.
And please be seated in the back.
Đi tour cờ neo tour là đủ quá rồi còn gì nữa mà. Cái này cũng hay chứ.
Hay á, hay á. Okay.
And some of the buildings you see here are the oldest in Copenhagen. Because Copenhagen did experience 2 big fires, but this part of the city didn't burn down. To speak in this area through the microphone, but there is a small interesting detail. The apartments to your left side cost 500 euros per month, and those to your right side cost 5,000 euros per month.
Ooh, 5,000.
We call it the sunny side.
5,000.
5,000 krone. Oh, 5,000 euro.
Euro. Oh.
Wow, 5,000 euro a month.
Yes.
For how big is a bag of?
They are bigger, but still, it's the average price is 5,000.
Oh.
Wow.
And they have boats like we got cars.
Oh, okay. They had a right to dock the boat. Yeah.
But it's look newer, huh? These are all buildings.
Those are, they're actually year built. But this one is also brand new. But it just looks quite boring, a little bit boring.
This kind or
Yes.
inside?
This to buy such an apartment cost 10 million kroners. Yes, such one along the waterfront.
Oh,
But you
okay.
can get some for 3 million kroners in
Inside.
the town.
In the countryside probably
Cheaper, yes.
Yeah.
It is.
Og her har vi så den sorte diamant, som blev bygget i 1999 som del af det kongelige bibliotek. And this black building to your right is the Black Diamond and is an extension of Royal Library from 1999. The building leans 7 degrees towards the water, so the water is being reflected into the building when sun shines. It looks like small sparkling diamonds. Und das schwarze Gebäude rechts, das ist das schwarze Diamant und das ist eine Erweiterung der Königlichen Bibliothek aus 1999. Und das Gebäude hat eine Neigung von 7 Grad über dem Wasser, so das Wasser sich ins Gebäude reflektiert, wenn die Sonne scheint. Og den bådbygning her til højre er Christian den Fjerdes rådhus. First beer has never been brewed here. The brewery burned down twice. It was decided to use it as a warehouse instead. And in the warehouse, the beer for the Danish Navy and the Royal House was kept.
10 million
And it's being told that the Danish seamen drank up to 10 liters of beer per day. So all the important, this is the oldest in Northern Europe. It was sold last year and today it's a privately owned houseboat. Founded i 1794. And the next bridge here in front is called the Marble Bridge, and the two Rococo pavilions here to your right are the only remains from the first Christian War palace. A palace that was built for a king in 1740, but it burned down in 1794. Und die nächste Brücke ist die Marmorbrücke. Und die zwei Rococo-Pavillons hier rechts sind die einzigsten Reste des ersten Christiansborg-Schlosses aus 1740, das 1794 niedergebrannt ist. You can see the Danish National Museum, which is one of the oldest and most beautiful Rococo buildings in Copenhagen. It was originally built as a prince palace. Und hier links sehen Sie das Dänische Nationalmuseum, und das ist eine der ältesten und schönsten Rococo-Gebäude in Kopenhagen. Og den næste bro er meget smalt, så vi beder om at holde hænderne indboldt. And the next bridge is very narrow, so please keep your hands inside of the boat. Und die nächste Brücke ist sehr schmal. And this large yellow building to your right is Thorvaldsen's Museum. And Thorvaldsen was a Danish sculptor who lived in Rome for 40 years. He returned to Copenhagen in 1838, where he was celebrated as a national hero. And today he lays buried inside of the museum. And Thorvaldsen was an honored citizen, so he was the one and only man who didn't have to pay taxes to the Danish state. Und das gelbe Gebäude hier rechts, das ist Thorvaldsens Museum.
The only one không phải bê tắc. Đi 40 năm bên cái ông người đây nè, ông đi 40 năm bên Italy, ông học về sculpture, rồi ông về lại đây nè, ông lập cái sculpture museum. Sculpture là làm lý tượng đó. Ông được honor đó, phải về.
Här fanns vid Storhavn-station Episcop Absalon som under København.
Có nhiều cái tour nó cho đi canal tour này, thấy không?
Right now we're in Gamle Strand in English Viol Beach, and it was here Copenhagen was founded. This used to be a fish market for more than 800 years. And here in front to your left you can see a statue of Bishop Absalon, who founded Copenhagen in 1167. And he is invest in Gamle Strand. Und hier wurde die Stadt Kopenhagen gegründet. Und hier vorne sehen Sie die 28. However, there have been 2 other palaces here by the same name, but they all burned down. Christianborg houses the Danish Parliament, Supreme Courts, and the Royal State Rooms. And at the top of the
Đây nè,
tower,
hồi
you
sáng nè,
can see
hồi
3
sáng ba đổ mình xuống đây nè, chụp cái đuôi của con dragon theo nè, hiểu không?
powers of a democratic parliament. Und hier rechts sehen Sie das Christiansborg Schloss aus Jahr 1928. Und das ist das 3. Schloss mit diesem Namen an dieser Stelle, da die ersten 2 niedergebrannt sind. Christiansborg erhält das dänische Parlament, das oberste Gericht und die Empfangsräume der Königin. And the bridge. Erwähnt Gamle.
Chụp cho em
Gamle rocks are intervened in the tower, and at the top of the tower you can see 3 crowns, which are a symbol of old friendship union between Denmark, Sweden and Norway. Hier rechts sehen Sie die alte Börse und das Charakteristische diesem Gebäude, der Turm, die besteht aus 4 geflochtenen Wachtschwänzen.
Sáng bà kia đâu có nói cái này.
Das ist ein Symbol der alten Freundschaft.
Nè, họ có nói nghe nói không? Three crown represent Norway and Sweden.
And we're again approaching a very low bridge, so please watch out for your hats. Bak som udtegnet af Anna Jacobsen i 1978. Bygningen er lavet af marmor, som blev importeret fra Norge, and this building to left is the Danish Central Bank. It was designed by Anna Jacobsen in 1978. The building is made out of marble, which was imported from Norway. And some people find its appearance quite boring, so they call it the freezer or the parking garage. Und das graue Gebäude links, das ist die dänische Zentralbank. Buildings here to your right is the Danish Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And as you can notice, there are very small windows to the building. It's meant that people stay focused on work and what's happening outside. Und die 3 grauen Gebäude rechts, das ist das dänische Außenministerium. Och smäller ihop som vi får se av ett kort ögonblick. And we are back in the New Harbour, and it was here our famous fairy tale writer Hans Christian Andersen lived for 25 years. And he lived in this grey narrow house with number 67. Und es war in diesem grauen Strandhaus, das unser berühmter Märchenverfasser Hans Christian Andersen wohnte.
Ai ở đây rồi.
Fortsæt god dag her i København. And right now we're back in the New Harbour, and it's here on Torrance. I hope you have enjoyed it.
Just outside the shooting range, actually. Oh, yeah. And then the backside. I would like it to last exactly 1 hour. Because there's a parade at 7:20. I think the girls know where it is. But they're all interested.
Wait for the fire to go out. Yeah. Oh, they don't encourage it. Only on the beaches and things like that. Yeah.
Only in Canberra.
I did. Two.
Đi
We have one here too.